of us struggle with anxiety, and it is a normal human experience. However, when we're really suffering with anxiety, it can impact how we feel at work, at home, and in other places. So it can be really important to know different ways to cope with anxiety and how we can handle bouts of anxiety when they come up for us. Not every technique is going to work for everybody, and there may be some days where one technique works really well and the next time it doesn't, and that's also okay. With anxiety, it's important to be patient with ourselves and allow ourselves to have trial and error in managing those symptoms. One of the first ways that we can manage our anxiety on our own is to boost our health habits. So this can be listening to our body's needs in terms of diet and food that we're putting into our body, exercise, sleep, and spending time in the outdoors. This can mean making time for our friends and family and having time in our lives to do the things that we love. Another way that we can manage anxiety on our own or at home is through using breathing techniques and also other types of mindfulness. Breathing in and of itself is something that we don't always do consciously in a slow and relaxing way. So if we consciously can shift our breathing to be more intentional, really focusing on breathing in and out for the same amounts of time and having deep diaphragmatic breathing, so that's like breathing that's deep into our diaphragm, that can actually calm down our nervous system. We can do these types of breathing in mindfulness activities as well, like progressive muscle relaxation, yoga, and also just some guided meditations. Number 3 technique for helping to soothe anxiety for ourselves can be changing our thought process. Our thought process is highly connected to anxiety. The way we think about things creates an emotional response for us and therefore affects our physical state of being as well. So if we are able to change our thoughts and challenge the automatic thoughts we have that may be more focused on threat or the negative things, we can actually shift our mindset to become less anxious. When we feel anxiety, we have a tendency to avoid the thing that is triggering anxiety for us. I call this the anxiety avoidance cycle. The issue with this is the more that we avoid our triggers for anxiety, the more anxious we actually become about those triggers. And it works to be kind of a cycle where anxiety grows and avoidance grows. There's a skill in therapy called opposite action, which is the idea that we do the opposite of what our emotions tell us to do, or the action urges that we have when we feel specific emotions like anxiety. For example, if the action urge that we're having is avoid, don't talk about it, and to respond with anxiety, we may actually want to confront our fear, share our concerns with a trusted friend, and actually deal with the things that are causing us to have this anxious response. Lastly, we've talked about meditation, but we can also live in more mindful ways, which simply means being aware of what we're feeling and where we're at in a moment, rather than letting our thoughts get away with us and creating high anxiety for ourselves.